Alright, what's up guys? Got Dave here and I'm going over to the post office right now. Gotta mail out my credit card bill. And I wanted to talk about stopping. And I know you guys, you're like, dude, you just use your brakes, dude, duh, you know? But there is a technique to it that makes riding a whole lot easier once you just get the technique down as muscle memory and don't have to think about it anymore. And it's the way that they taught me in my MSF class. And it comes back to, duh, you use your brakes. And it's like, yeah, you use both of your brakes. And a lot of people that I see riding around, they basically just use their front brake. Yeah, they just use their right hand, just hit the brakes, you know, and they don't even think about what their right foot is doing down there with the rear brake. And there's a bunch of times I use the rear brake, and I'll use the rear brake not to brake check people, but just like when I'm in traffic or whatever and I'm busy with my hands, you know, doing the clutch, doing the throttle, all that crap, and I don't want to hit the front brake. I'm trying to get my freaking bill out. I will tap the rear brake with my right foot just to light up the brake light, just so the cars see me and know that I'm hitting the brakes. You know, like if I'm coming up to a stop and there's someone behind me or traffic's starting to slow down, I'll tap my back brake a little bit just to light up that light in the back, just to let the person behind me know that I'm slowing down, or I'm going to be slowing down. That's one of the main times that I use my rear brake. I'm always tapping that thing in traffic. But when you come to a stop, you're using your right hand on the front brake, your right foot on the rear brake all the way up to the stop, and you're downshifting into first, and then you put your left foot down. That's the way I was taught in the MSF class. And there's a bunch of different reasons to that. And the first reason is when you're sitting at a light, stopped, you want to be sitting there in first gear with the clutch held in. You don't want to be sitting there in neutral like a freaking sitting duck, and you look in your mirror and then a guy's coming up at like 100 and you're like, oh crap, you got to pull in the clutch and put it in first and try to get out of there. It's like, no. You're already sitting there in first gear. You're ready to go. You got the clutch held in and you're just like watching that rear mirror, that rear view mirror for whoever's coming up behind. And that's what I do when I'm sitting at a stop. You know, I mean, I'll look around at like what's, you know, the scenery or whatever, but I'm always in first gear with the clutch held in, and I'm always checking what's going on behind me, just in case I have to be like, bah, and get out of there. You know, like go between the cars that are in front of me and not get rear-ended. When you're coming to a stop, I feel like it's very beneficial that you go down through the gears and that you use the gears to slow yourself down. Not only does it use less brakes, so it's like you're not going to have to replace your brake pads as often, but what it does is, like, say you're coming up to this stop, I'm coming down through my gears, all of a sudden it turns green. I'm in the correct gear that I can just get back on the gas and start going again. And you'll realize that a lot, like when you go to the track, if you ever do a track day, because when you're coming up to a turn, you're downshifting, you know, and you're like bang, bang, and then like as you come into the turn, you're like, whoa, you get back onto the gas, and you're like on the gas as you're going through the turn. So I'm coming up to a stop, I'm going through the gears, I get down into first gear before I come up to the stop, because your bike will go into first a lot easier when it's rolling than it will once you stop. So you want to get into first as you're coming up to the stop, and I use the right foot for the brake and the right hand for the brake as I'm coming up to the stop, so naturally I'm going to put my left foot down. You know, like you never put your right foot down. You always put your left foot down when you come to a stop, every time. And having that technique like in your brain and like as like habit, it makes it a lot easier if you ever have to stop on the side of a hill. Because like, you know what, check this out. This is like a hill right here. I'll go up this hill. I don't know if there's a stop sign up here, but my point being is, if you're going up a hill and then all of a sudden, say like you get to a stop, okay, you get down into first and you stop. I got my right foot down, or my left foot down, and I'm holding myself in place with the right brake. you know, like I'm not holding myself like with the front brake and then trying to go and being like all and rolling backward. You're holding yourself with the right foot, and then as you go, you get like a little bit of friction on that clutch, and then you just pull away and you let off the right foot. And it makes it so much easier to be in that habit, because when you get on the side of a hill like that, it's going to feel really awkward if you're trying to hold yourself in place with the right with your front brake. It doesn't feel as good. It feels a lot better to me if I'm holding myself on the side of the hill with the right foot, with the rear brake, and then it frees my hand up so I can just articulate the throttle and get going, you know, pull away from the stop. And it makes it so much easier. So that's a technique that you really want to get down. That's something that you always want to do. Every time you come up to a stop, you want to just like downshift, and then, okay, I'm in first, and then you stop, left foot down. That's what you want to do every freaking time. That is how I think is the best way to do it. I come up, I always put my left foot down because I'm using my right foot on the brake, on the rear brake. And actually, to make your stops a little bit smoother, I usually use the back brake to finish off. You know, like I'll do most of my stopping with the front brake, but then as I come to a stop, I do the last, whatever, like 5 feet of my stop just with the rear brake. Whoa, that was sketchy. Thought he was gonna pull out in front of me, dude. That was scary, dude. But I just figured I would talk about that stuff. You know, let me know like what you think, or if you have a different technique or something, or whatever, or you think I'm right, whatever. But that is the way that the MSF class taught me. And anytime I've ever been at a light and there's like a motor officer, like an actual like motorcycle cop sitting there, he'll have his left foot on the ground, and he'll be holding his right brake with or his rear brake with his right foot. That's they're taught the same way that I was taught. So that I'm just trying to pass on that information to you because it seems like it works really good like for me. So I will talk to you guys later, and have a really good day. Stay well. Don't get freaking sick like everybody's afraid of. And I will talk to you in the next video. Peace.